Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next question. When you first began working in the healthcare field, how were ethical issues different from today?
I think that when I first started as a registered nurse, back then we used to treat patients, uh, to, if they were sick, we would do everything we could to save their lives. And I think over the years, when the healthcare industry has become more trying to uh, resources. So a lot of times when a case appears to be hopeless, the first thing they do is they approach the family with do not resuscitate orders, and they say that in case the person's heart should stop, they're not going to do anything to save the patient's life.
Okay.
That's relatively new in the last, several, not several years, but the last couple of decades. That's the first thing that they do now is they ask the person for a do not resuscitate order
Okay.
when they enter, the healthcare facility.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. I'll probably get back to that one. Most organizations work in teams, and some of these teams create a sort of friendship with one another. In any of these teams that you were a part of, have you ever had to report someone, even though he or she was a coworker, who you may refer to as your friend, for violating any of these policies within the organization that you deemed were unethical?
Yes, I did. I had a situation where I was working with a nurse on night shift, and she was a friend of mine, and I left the unit. I was a shift leader at the time, and I left the unit, and I told the nurse that, and I gave her. I told her to look after my patient while I went on my rounds to another floor, and so when I came back and nothing unusual happened to my patient, but at the end of the shift when we were counting narcotics, I noticed that my patient had some medication, some morphine checked out for her, and so then I went and asked the patient if they had given her any medication, and she said no. And then I asked the nurse, I said, "Did you give anything to my patient?" She said no, but yet there was medication that had some morphine that had been signed out with my patient's name on it. She had signed it out. And then I looked at the narcotics book, and then I noticed that that particular nurse had been signing out medication on several patients, and the patients were not receiving the medication. But later, she got busted, and they found out they did a drug screen, and she had narcotics in her urine drug screen.
Oh, okay.
So I reported her to my supervisor, and they went ahead and did a drug screen on her, and she was positive, and they got her out, of the healthcare.
Okay. Did I guess maybe now moving along towards that question? Well, in line of that question, did it cause any other issues with other coworkers? Did they see anything different from you, or did you gain a little bit more respect for that, or was it kind of frowned upon against other individuals? Did you notice any changes, like
Yes, yes,
don't
I
don't
did.
talk to her, or how could she do that?
Yes, I did. After that incident, nobody, people were trying to avoid me, and they thought that I was a spy. I was there to check on the narcotics.
Okay.
And then I worked with the like the Office of Special Investigations. That I was there as a plant to see if
Okay.
there were any drugs that were being stolen. That's what one of the technicians told me. People are avoiding you because they think you work I work for special investigations, and that's what I'm doing. I'm outing them.
Okay. All right. Okay. How do you gain the trust of your patients during difficult situations? Let's say, like, I'm just going to give an example. Like, maybe they had a bad experience and they lose that trust with the healthcare professional, like somewhere along the line. Maybe if it was another facility, but how would you gain their trust back? Like, trying to ensure that you're there to do the best, for their well being.
Well, a lot of it has to do with, you know, you're faithful to whatever you're doing. You explain things to a patient, and they show that, and you show that you are, whenever you're delivering care, you're delivering, the best care that you can give, and you're honest with the patient, and you explain things to them, and sometimes you can. What I do is I give them some personal experiences that I've had, and a lot of times you show empathy towards them, and a lot of times they will trust you when you tell them things.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. Are there any times, any communication barriers that you may face with other employees? As far as it can be anything, as far as the language to just not. I mean, no communication at all. Like y'all are not on the same terms. Different, not seeing eye to eye.
Yes, in my current job, we do have some. Our office is kind of mixed racially, and sometimes the and because they are of a different ethnic background, a lot of times those particular healthcare workers, they tend to congregate together.
Oh, okay.
And then, like, the Hispanics tend to congregate together. So it's kind of like along racial lines. And then, then information is withheld. They don't really tell you everything. And or they think that you're treating them unfairly. They will, they'll go to the supervisor and say, well, such and such a person, I don't think they like me, or et cetera, things like that. Just because they feel that if they're of a different ethnic background, they will, they will it's sort of like a clique,
Okay.
be cliquish.
Okay. All right. Okay. Can you state a time when a patient has asked you to do something that you knew would be unethical, and how did it affect your relationship with the patient?
I don't think I've ever encountered that situation.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Have you ever held a management role in a healthcare facility where you had to apologize for an unethical practice performed maybe by another employee to the family? It could be maybe if you weren't in a management role, but as far as like a team leader,
Um, hmm.
maybe they just made a mistake and you had to let them know, the family members, and
But I had to apologize to the
or
family. I don't. No, I don't think so. I don't think I've ever encountered that.
okay, all right. Um, in any healthcare organization that you worked at, did you ever witness the denial of healthcare services to the general public?
No, I don't think so. I worked at MD Anderson, and everybody was, whoever came in, whenever families came in, they were never denied. And I worked in a small emergency room, and that wasn't denied. And I worked, of course, in the military, and I was stationed in Japan, and we treated the Japanese. If they were to come in, we treated them. Greece, there was a contract with the actual area, so that if there were any of the Greeks needed medical attention, they could come to the emergency room, and the medics would treat them. We would treat them, and we would take them after they stabilized. They got transferred to the main medical facility
Okay.
downtown.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Even though a patient may not be in your care, do you ever feel that if you see something that is being done improperly to the patient, that you should intervene?
Well, I do that all the time.
Okay.
Right now in my job, I do infection control, so I do a lot of observations of people walking into rooms without washing their hands. So I stop them. I stop the doctors. I stop the nurses. Whoever it is, I stop them. I say, you all need to perform hand hygiene before you walk into that room. And all the times they look at me and then they're saying, well, who is this person that's telling us to wash our hands? So, I mean, if these patients get an infection, I mean, some patients could be immunosuppressed and they could die from an infection that they got from a healthcare worker.
Oh, okay. Okay, just give me one.
So a lot of times they look at me, like, oh, here she comes. She's got to tell us to wash our hands.
Okay. All right, just give me a brief moment really quick. Battery should be dying there. Okay, let me see. Do you think this at any time does this affect your relationship with the employee whenever you do and tell them that or
Yes.
advise them? Yes, it does. Okay.
I think so. They tend to. Some people will respect that, and some people might not. The doctors might just, generally do it, but they get offended sometimes when I tell them they're supposed to wash their hands.
Okay. All
And
right.
that should be something they should do. They
Yeah.
shouldn't have to be told.
Yeah, that should be something to come how do they say it? Natural to them. Almost as an instinct to do that. Okay. Do you consider it a steward in promoting safe and ethical practices in your healthcare field? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. If you ever notice in one day your immediate supervisor is participating in any fraudulent activity, would you report him or her?
Yes, I would.
You would? Okay. Once again, I think we did miss your introduction. Can you state exactly your current position again and how long you've been in the healthcare field?
Do I have to tell my name?
No.
Oh, okay. I am a registered nurse, and I work as an infection preventionist at a local facility here in Tucson.
Okay. Do you have any other recommendations that for entering healthcare professionals that are going to be dealing with these type of issues? Any advice that you would like to tell them as they pursue their careers?
Well, what they need to do is we have courses on ethical practices. A lot of times these are required when you are first employed. So, and then if you're in school, a lot of times these are courses also that are required, to take as part of the curriculum.
Oh, okay.
And you should always strive to do the right thing.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, I do thank you for your time. I guess this does conclude the rest of the interview. I appreciate you taking the time to assist us in getting a better knowledge of the healthcare industry.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.